Hello everyone, this is Dave, and today I'm going to be making a Red Noel burlap wreath. The items that I'm going to be using today is a 14-inch wire wreath frame. I have 2 packages of this red burlap. I just love the color of this. I have a little bit of odds and sods, Christmas decorations, some Christmas ribbons. I have some leftover garland here as well. You're going to need a glue gun, a pair of scissors, and you're going to need these plastic twist ties. And that's basically it. Let's do a little wreath 101 for this project. So it's a 14-inch wire wreath frame. This one I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be using the inside 2 wires for this, plus I'm going to be using those anchors as well. So that's a little wreath 101 wrap up for you. I'm just going to get started here. So I have my red burlap wreath, and I'm going to fold it over and place it in between the top 2 open areas such that your wire is in the middle of that wreath. Now, if you want a little more detail, I do have a video that goes through this process and actually another method of how to create a burlap wreath. So it's my 2 ways to make a burlap wreath. I'll put a little link in the top right hand corner there for you. But really all I'm doing is I'm folding that burlap in half. I'm pulling it through with my right hand and collecting it into my left hand. Now remember, that wire goes right in the middle of that folded burlap, and then I just continue filling and filling and filling until I'm happy with the results and happy with the fullness within that one section. So here I am, I'm just kind of checking to see if I'm happy with that, and yeah, I am. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to continue on and filling up my wreath with this, and then later on I will go to that other row. Now here I am, I'm almost finished with my first roll, and I love how this actually is starting to look out right now. I think it looks amazing. This is the first time I'm using the colored burlap. I usually use just the natural color burlap. Now you see here I'm kind of fiddling around with the end of the roll. It's curling up on me. I'm having a little issues getting it all sorted out, and even at one point I'm like grabbing the scissors and I'm like, I'm just going to chop this off, and I decide not to, and then I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to deal with this, and I'll just use this to anchor my burlap to the wreath. Now the first time I did this, I did start using an anchor, but this time around I'm going to end and begin with an anchor at the very last step. Usually I anchor first. Does that make sense? Did I confuse everybody? Anyways, let's get back to it. So my beginning piece here and my end piece I'm going to use as one anchor, and I'm going to anchor it to that crossbar and the 2 middle wires that we're working on. So I have the beginning of the burlap and the end of the burlap, and I'm going to tie it to that crossbar you see right there. So I'm going to take one of those plastic ties and I'm going to feed it through, and then I'm going to pull it through the other end, and you'll see here I put it in the wrong way. So we've all been there. So I tried to twist it around, but I couldn't, so I gave up and I just pulled it out, and I'm feeding it back in again. So really, lesson learned here, right? The plastic tie has 1 point, Dave has 0 points. So I'm just gonna pull that through, pull it nice and tight, and then I'm just gonna cut off the excess there. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start and jump right ahead to how I finished the wreath with that second row. So that anchor is nice and secured in there. I just fluff everything up, kind of fix up the sections here, and then I'm going to move on onto that second row, which you'll see me do probably, you'll jump in about halfway through right here. So I'm just continuing on with the same process we did for the outside wreath. This time I'm just using the second wire from the center, and I'm folding the burlap in half, and I'm continuing to move on. So I'm pretty much done now. I like the fullness of it. So I look for that crossbar. That's where I'm going to create that anchor. And here's where the twist tie wins again. I don't know what it was with me and the twist ties today. Geez, 2 points for the twist tie, 0 points for Dave. So you'll see me do it again here, and then I'm finally getting the right side in, pulling it tight, cutting off the excess, and then I'm going to cut the excess of that burlap off as well. I'm going to save this burlap because I love the color. I can use it for another wreath in the future. And now I'm just going to flip it over and fluff it up. There you go. We are done. And my final and favorite step is I always love putting everything together. So I have these ribbons, like I showed you in the beginning, that I want to use. Figure out which one I want to use. I have some garland left over. I also had this little Noel sign that I thought was really cute, and I wanted to incorporate it somehow into this wreath. So here I am. I'm just kind of trying to decide what I'm going to use. And I know right off the bat, I'm going to use this ribbon. Now, I got this one at the Dollar Tree, and I used it for my natural wreath, and I loved it. Here I'm going to do the 2 ribbons side by side with the sign and with the garland, what works, what doesn't work. And then I decide, you know what? I'm just going to start with this ribbon here. I'm going to guess the length, and I think it's about 12 to 14 inches that I'm doing here. And I'm cutting 5 different pieces, or sorry, not different pieces, 5 pieces the same size. And then what I'm going to do is come in, fold it in half to create a dovetail, take my scissors, cut it at an angle, and then that creates your little dovetail. I'm going to do it at the other end as well, and I'll show you in 2 seconds what it looks like at the end. With those 2 dovetails, I think that looks so nice, and it just finishes off those ribbons. So here I am, just finishing the rest. There's 5 in total. Now I did this ribbon or bow, I don't even know what you want to call it. It's almost like just a clump of ribbons put together with a makeshift bow. So I did this for one of my ribbons before, and I loved it, and I had a lot of comments on it. And all I really do is I lay the ribbons in a crisscross pattern, and then I squish it together with a twist tie. But for this one, I started doing it, and then I thought, you know what? I wonder if that ribbon that I love with the Christmas trees is going to work with this. So this ribbon here, I actually got from the Dollar Tree as well, and I wanted to test it out to see what it looked like, and it took me like a nanosecond to be like, yep, this works for me. So I cut 5 pieces as well, same lengths, about 12 to 14 inches of my other ribbon, and then I just start alternating, you know, the larger ribbon with the smaller ribbon. I do the crisscross pattern again. I want to do that same bow ribbon spray that I did before, and all I did was I pretty much laid it down crisscross, alternating with that burlap ribbon and with that red Christmas tree ribbon like you see here. Final piece goes down, and then I'm going to find a center point, and then I'm going to squish it all together right in that center, gather it together, hold it there with my left hand. I'm going to quickly grab a Chenille stem or a pipe cleaner, find the center, and then I'm just going to twist it together, make sure that it's nice and secure. But before I do that, I'm going to just make sure all the ribbons are facing the right way and just kind of tidy it up a little bit. And then I'm just going to twist, 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 twist till my heart's content. I just want to make sure that those ribbons don't go anywhere. Here's my wreath again, and I want to see how it looks up against the wreath. And I am so happy with how this turned out. I just loved how those 2 ribbons came together, and then how when I put them on the red wreath, I was just like, wow, this looks awesome. So I'm going to find a spot here. Since it's so busy, it takes me a little while to find a spot to put those Chenille stems through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the Chenille stems through the top space and the bottom space. So it's surrounding the middle two wires again. And then I'm going to flip it over here and pull it tight and then twist, twist, twist to make sure that's nice and secured on there. So give it a good twist. Then I'm going to grab my scissors, cut off that excess, and flip it over. And I'm like, wow, this looks awesome. I was so happy with it. Now, I could stop there, but I had a little bit of decorations that I thought just a little bit more. So I found this leaf, a couple of pine cones, and I'm like, you know what? That looks really good. I'm just going to take my hot glue gun, stick it all down, and then I'll show you right here what it looks like afterwards. How does that look? What do you guys think? I am so happy with the results. Now, when I was finished, or when I thought I was finished, I had this idea. I had another Noel sign that I wanted to use, so I'm going to show you right at the very end. I've had this little Noel sign I got at the Dollarama. I just love it. So all I did was I glued 2 pieces of Chenille stems on the back, and then I attached it to the wire frame. So I just fed it right through. And I just think this adds such a wow factor to this wreath. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope you love this red burlap wreath as much as I do. I can't say enough of it. I'm just wowed by it. Like I said, it's my first time using the red burlap, and I am a huge fan of it now. Thank you very much for spending time with me today. Take care. Bye for now.